Hey everyone, GeForce41 here with another PGA Tour 2K23 design tip video. This is Green Entrances Part 2. As I told you in Green Entrances Part 1, green entrances are one of the most often looked aspects of design. I think I'm going to put up that Tom Doe quote again here on the screen. And Part 1, I went through the basics of, making sure you're focusing on your green entrances, how it can enhance the look and playability of your course. Again, this is really intended for more beginner designers, folks that are just starting out or trying to make their courses better, trying to get them approved or quote unquote tour worthy, or get us and myself to use it on the casuals golf club. Folks come at me all the time. Can you try my course? Can you try my course? And the newer folks, I see this all the time, and it's an instant no for me for using their course. It's not sculpted well. It's not thought out well. It's not factored into the strategy of the whole, and that's really what you need to be thinking about. So on the first video, I took you through my green entrance here. This is Cuyahoga 1. Okay, today we're going to go to a quick review, and then a quick kind of do a how not to section, and then we'll look at, this is the best part, courses from the best designers in the game and how they approach some of this stuff. We're going to look at kind of, this is kind of a normal elevated green. We're going to go to Nassau Field Club. We're going to go to a course by Ben, B101, which is Old Wickham Heath. And I think we're going to go to the Keg Farm, which I featured in Casuals this week. And maybe somebody else. I'm not sure at the time of recording this if I'll add anything. What I like to do is go back and figure these things out and edit these videos. I make sure I put extra effort in it for you all to make sure it's worthwhile for you. So here I am on Cuyahoga 1, simple par 4. And if you look at this entrance, this is a 4-hole location. We talked in the first video, just in a way of review if you have not seen it, how this is an elevated green, and yes, you do want it to be a little bit punitive here. If you come up short, you want to roll it back a little. Here it's more of a hit, bounce, and stick, right? I didn't intend this to be all roll all the way back there. But you could, if you get it just right, bounce it in front of this green and bounce it up this whole location. Maybe it's a windy day or you have a bad lie in the rough. I don't want it to be too penal. But you have to sculpt this well. You have to flatten and smooth it. And we went over that in the first video as well. Okay? And you have to really focus on this aspect of your design if you want it to look and play well. And that really was the whole point of the first video. This second video is just a follow-up to give you more information and more insight and how to do it. But more importantly, look at how the experts do it. And really think about that and incorporate that in your designs. Sound like a good deal? Good deal. Let's get rolling. Okay, I'm here at an example of a hole that definitely is a little bit more on the extreme side, but I just wanted to throw out the concept to you, of anybody who has not caught the first video. Again, there's no intent to poke fun at these designers or their holes. This is for informative purposes. Folks ask me to give feedback about the courses all the time, so I'll throw them in these videos. So this is a first hole of a course, and you can see here this is pretty extreme. That's an extreme 82 feet up. That's an extreme elevation change. Again, like I said, I'd be very leery of that as a newer designer, but especially on the first hole. But look at the wall in front of it. Basically, it's a huge drop down, and that hasn't been sculpted at all. Basically, you've just lifted that up, and there's just no thought going into this green entrance here. Could you pull this off? Yeah, there are ways to do it. You'll see it in some of the expert designers' holes I'll be bringing to you throughout this video. But this is what I'm talking about. This is actually pretty extreme, which is why I'm starting first with it. Too much. That's just a wall. Your ball's going to hit it and bounce straight back at you. You'd have to smooth this out. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. But definitely make this more gradual. You've got all this space over here to the right where you could smooth out that elevation change and put an entrance up there, or even a helper slope over here. And you'll see that in, I think it's Ben's, I'm going to use Ben's course, B101's course, Old Wickham. But this is, kind of what I'm talking about. There's no care given here. It's just a forced carry way up a hill on the first hole. So again, care needs to be made to make sure you've got the proper entrance and really, avoid this kind of wall. Now, is this extreme? Yeah, absolutely. But I see this in very subtle ways too, and I'll show you a subtle one next. Okay, here's an example of what I'm talking about. This is a nice mountain course, so it's alpine, it's up, down hills, etc. And this is a par 5. I hit a terrible tee shot, so I had to lay up. You can see me there in the fairway. It's a little pitch up. But can you imagine an approach in on this one for 250, whatever? Look at the front of that green. See that bump? The green itself is flat up on a plateau. Not much happening there, nothing wrong with that. But then look at this bump here. Okay? This care has not been taken into this green entrance at all. Is this terrible? Not really. It's not great. I'll tell you that. But is that going to help the hole at all? No, because especially if you're coming in from a great distance, 200 yards, you're going to hit that and bounce straight back. Is that what the designer intended? Maybe, maybe not. But I think here, if you look at the screen and how flat it is, I've heard me say before, I think what happens is newer designers take that flatten brush and they just flatten it. And they flatten this area, and they flatten this, and look how flat I've got my front of my green, but look what you've done here. Okay, you've created this little ridge right here, and that little bump. Show it from there. Okay, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You need to iron that out, take the flattened brush, keep going down the fairway, and punch it out. That was in the first video. But you can see here how that's just, a wall that's just going to reject a shot coming in. Now, is there a place for that kind of hole? Yes. But again, that should still be a little bit smoother. I mean, that little ridge here should be smooth. And yes, like I said in the other videos, there are holes such as that famous ninth hole in Georgia where you're going to hit it and go all the way back down the hill if you just miss. But again, here, I don't think that's the goal here. I mean, think about how interesting this could be. And then, we're going to show you some great holes by some great designers. So again, this is just a simple little concept that is often overlooked by newer designers. And that's the only point I'm trying to get across to you. Okay? All right, let's move along. So we're here at the first hole of Nassau Field Club, Grovey 31. A recent course that was in the World Cup of Design competition. I absolutely love this one. It's based on Garden City, which is very close to where I grew up. Never had the good fortune to play this course, but it is a classic golden age golf course, well known for all you golf course architecture geeks. And this is the first hole of his Nassau Field Club. So Nassau is the name of the county that Garden City's in, just for you folks not familiar with the area. And I picked this because it's just so simple, okay? Look, it looks flat, right? But if it, coming in nice and flat, I'd say, is the green elevated? Yeah, it's actually 10, 11 feet up in the air from where I am. But that distance is covered, I should say that elevation change is covered gradually, okay? It's sculpted nicely. It's just a little bit of a hill in the front, okay? But you see how it's crafted very nicely, very smoothly. There's no big lump in the front. You can run one up. It actually, an errant shot's going to go off to the side. It's going to go off to the side, a little bit like my Cuyahoga, and I'm saying my name, my own course wrong again. My Cuyahoga course. Same thing, but it was a little bit more of a hill in front. So this is a good way to start your course off simply. This looks very natural, and it just takes a little bit of care in sculpting. And you can see the front of the green there. It's not going down too much, right? It's not a red falling off or anything like that. It looks like you've got a section there. There could be a hole here, here, and I'm sure there's got to be one there. So I'm assuming 1, 2, 3, 4 locations on the green, and the entrance is simple, okay? Is this rocket science? No. But again, the whole point of this series is that this aspect of design is often overlooked, especially by newer designers. So I wanted to feature this one first, in case you missed that first video. If you have missed it, feel free to go back. But we're going to take a look at some different types of holes, some different types of elevation changes, and ways that designers approach such elevation changes. Okay, might take a look at one or two more on this course, and then we'll get rolling to some other courses. All right, we're at 11 now, Nassau Field Club. Now take a look at this one. This demonstrates the concept beautifully. Remember that first hole at Cuyahoga? About 10 or 11 feet up, right? So this is about 12 feet up, depending on where you are in the green, from where I am on the fairway. It's a par 4. A decent sized par 4. I think I've got buck 75-ish. So we're looking at come in here. Maybe you want to run it up here. Again, look at the green. Fabulous contouring. And then look at the apron here. You've got a disconnected fairway kind of situation here where you've got a forced carry to the green area and the apron and the green entrance. And that goes down about 2-3 feet. So again, we're looking at about that 6 feet climb. And at Cuyahoga, I told you 6 in the first video. I'm not sure if I mentioned in the beginning, 6 feet over your head, walking up to your green, that's about your height, right? Or most people's height. I'm a little under that, but hey, that's a sizable hill. Well, look how beautifully he's dealt with this here and how smooth that is. There's no hump there. There's no lump. There's no sudden change. The elevation change is very gradual, okay? The front of the green is smooth. It's contoured. It looks beautiful. And it's going to play very nicely. Now, I don't know where all the holes are, but I assume there could be one right here. It's probably one over here. It's probably one over here somewhere. Okay? So you can see here how if there's a hole here, you've got that helping slope there. You could also just bounce one up, roll one up. You don't have an unreasonable hill or knoll or just an area that hasn't been sculpted properly to knock it out of the way. Obviously, a shot that's a little offline is going to hit this way and maybe roll into the bunker. And same thing over here. But again, this is actually very generous. That's a very wide opening, a very flat opening that's going to enable you to play this hole in a number of ways. And when you think about it, I'm a buck 75 out. That's a longer approach in, right? That's not a wedge. You can use the ground here. So this green entrance fits this hole and this strategy beautifully. Again, that's the only thing I'm trying to raise your awareness on. A lot of folks don't think about it. It's often overlooked. That's why I put the quote up in the beginning of the video and why we're here. Nice hole, really well done. And look at the background. I like the houses in the background. There are some very fancy houses in Garden City, by the way, for any of you folks wondering out there. Very, very, very nice town. So, all right. Let's take a look at a few others. Okay, so let's look at one with the elevated green that's done very well. This is the Keg Farm from Energizer Team. This is a collab. It will be featured on the casuals shortly. Not elevated from the fairway where I'm hitting right now, but certainly it is elevated on the approach. If you look at the area around the green, it is perched up on a hill. A bit of a false front, to say the least, in the front. But look how this goes down nice and naturally, okay? It's sloped down, and you can almost see, if you think about my Making the Greens Look Natural video, same thing. You can almost see how the water would flow here, right? Excuse me, let me get back there. It would come right down here and flow right down here. Well, look where the water is over there. Isn't that interesting? There's the river, there's the water. This is simple stuff, folks, right? But think back to that hole we saw before. What people do is mat down that front of that green, and it gives you that unnatural wall right here in front of the green. Now, yeah, there's a false front in here, but this is a nice big green for a big approach on a par 5. Okay, but look how nicely this kind of blends in naturally. Okay? It's not sudden. There's no giant wall. Could you run one up there? It would be kind of tough, right? Especially with that front, false front up here. But, you're not going to hit that big wall right there and bounce all the way back down here. You have a chance of kind of sliding one up and it might just dribble back here. But this is fair, right? This is realistic. You also have this area over here to lay up in, or if you pull one left, have a short game shot over here. So this is a very well-designed hole. This is the first hole. And this green complex is very, very well done. It's very interesting. It gives you a lot of options in various wind conditions, right? You got a good wind here, definitely going for it from here. But where are you going to lay up? Okay, is also on the table if the wind is in your face. So very well done hole. You see how you can do an elevated green and not make it ridiculous. Be very careful with these false fronts, so that is pretty severe. So you want to make sure you have a large green and plenty of landing area behind that. Don't make your greens too slopey if you're a new designer. Don't take too many risks. These are very experienced folks that know how to put that front in there and still have a green that's very playable. Okay, so let's have a rip at it. See what happens. Going right at it. Go, 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 go. See, it hits that front and it deflects it off to the side. Okay, didn't knock it straight back or anything like that. Fair result. Okay, we are at Old Wickham Heath, one of my favorite courses, and I think one of Ben B101's best. Definitely my probably favorite of his great library of courses. Obviously, Heathland course. Um, the work he does on his hills and the sculpting is spectacular, and this is no exception. I love this hole. This is a par 5. Uphill approach. You see it's about 19 feet up from where I am. But let's take a look at this more closely. You can see it's a side hill lie. He sculpted this hole and this green complex beautifully into the landscape. Just absolutely fits in perfectly. And look at this. You have a very elevated green, but you don't have that wall in front of the green like we saw to begin the video, right? You've got a hill over here. And you know, Ben is meticulous about the details. Certainly he pays very close attention to these things. He pays very close attention to everything. If you've ever seen his videos, whoops, get the tree out of there. But definitely, I think this is one of his trademarks, these par 5s that have a bit of a helping slope to bring you in using the ground game. He loves doing this. I don't do too much of this, but I think this is a great example for this video of how you can have an elevated green and not just have that big, you know, forced carry. Okay, so he's coming in, he's using the landscape and the side of the hill to incorporate this left side entrance to the green. Okay, it makes this hole much more fun. Could you have made this a par 5 that's a 3-shot hole? Sure, and closed all that off. But no, this is so you now have options because you know I'm on the top tier here. As you can see, this is a split fairway. If you got wind behind you, you might be on that front tier and you might be able to go at this hole straight on. You know, if it's back, if the pin is back there, somewhere back here, you could come in this way. But here, I don't have a great option. I don't think I'm going to make that carry. So where would I go? I can use this over here. Okay. So this is just a well designed hole. Great concept and immaculate execution. Let's see how I do. Pushed a little. Ground's going to take it, throw it right in the middle of the green. Good shot, good result. Very fair hole, very smart. Oh, we get even closer than I thought. There you go. He's happy with that. He should be. And we're putting for eagle. And by contrast, okay, here's the next hole, the 9th hole at Old Wickham. It's a par 4, a longer 4. This is a bit of a downhill shot. You can see it's 16 feet below where I am on the fairway, and it's a flattish approach to the green. Now here's a good example of a flattish green complex and area. Okay, it doesn't have to be completely flat. It incorporates, again, the natural terrain, the natural flow of the land, to a flattish green complex. So again, you have on a long shot in some options here off to the side. Okay, the ground will take it off to the hole this way, but then it falls off neatly to the back. So that's another neat little concept. If you ask me, you're going off the back if you're too long. Okay, and so the green is surrounded by fairway. Okay, you can see there how it falls off naturally to the back. So if you're too long, you're going to run right through, and then right in the front, you're nice and flat. Okay, so you know you don't always have to be pitched. I tend to make a lot of holes that are elevated and pitched. That's just because it's the way I see most holes around here. But then again, you're going to have instances of flat green complexes that can be very effective, just like this. So you've got the high area to the front right and the low area to the back left. Pretty neat stuff. Let's see how I do. See what happens. That might be a little short. A little short, unfortunately. Wrong club. Caddy doesn't like it either. Alright, but really cool hole. Okay, we're here at 5 at Merced Municipal Course, and this is a good example of a hole with no entrance. Okay, now you can see this is a short 4. I just hit a little, I think it was a 3-wood down to where I am, and only got a 95-yard pitch shot in. So that's a good use of a hole with no entrance, right? You want a shorter shot, a wedge or something like that, rather than a long shot in like on a par 5, like we've seen. Okay, but this is interesting because the green falls off to the side in the back. Actually, it's kind of the back right. So it's the back right side of the green is falling off into a collection area. And again, you can see how this green is situated perfectly in the landscape and sits in there naturally, right? The left is the high side, the right is the low side. In front of you is trouble. It's, you know, on a short shot, this makes sense. Okay, it's a little wedge in, it's a tight little green, and it's got some trouble off to the right where you're gonna, if you push your shot, you're off, and you're looking at a tough up and down. So, little simple par 4. Very, very well executed. That shot was not very well executed. If the pin was back there, it'd be beautiful. But good example of a hole with no entrance. Okay, let's wrap this up. So this has been another in my series of course design tips for PGA Tour 2K23. This is the second video on green entrances, and today we focused on ways to make your green entrances look and play better, and really the key is to actually focus on them. Part of the problem is most designers and newer designers do not focus on the green entrances. It's often overlooked, and it impacts your playability. It impacts the look and feel of your course. And if you do it correctly and pay just a little bit of attention to it, it's going to greatly enhance your playability, your strategy, and really how your course looks to the eye. This is my Cuyahoga 2. It's a par 5, so you've got a nice long shot in there, but look at that entrance. It's a very welcoming shot from it's a downhill shot, actually, downhill side hill, so you can run one up there. It's a pretty little location. I just wanted to feature that on this conclusion. But what we did is look at some of the design mistakes people make. Again, no intent to poke fun at them. And then we looked at some expert designers. Nassau Field Club, Old Wickham Heath, the Keg Farm, Merced Municipal, all outstanding examples of varying your green entrances, right? We looked at some kind of standard entrances, some elevated greens and green entrances, and no entrance greens, right? So that's an option too. But use it wisely. So just think about this, vary your designs, mix it up, sculpt it well, flatten and smooth it, and make sure your elevation changes are in proportion. Don't go crazy with it if you're a new designer, right? Just start at 10-20 feet. And so if you do that, you're going to really start thinking about how the green entrance can play into the strategy of the hole. And when you're doing that and you're making it look good and you're incorporating it into your strategy, you're going to start knocking out these A+ courses. So hope this helps. If there's anything you want to hear about, any other tips you'd like to know about, like me to cover, just let me know. So drop me a line in the comments. Please do like and subscribe. I'm happy to keep this content coming, and we will talk again soon. Thanks for joining. Bye now.